Good morning, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of Favorite Live Album by Year. We are finishing up September, 30 days, 30 live albums, 30 runners-up. So it's been fun so far. We've got some interesting things here today. We've got one, this is 1994. That's where we have arrived at. One archival release and one current release at the time, right, by a active act, right, so to speak. That's been kind of the mantra from like the mid 80s on. We have, some newly released at the time, but a lot of archival stuff was kind of starting to come out in the mid to late 80s, and certainly in the 90s. A lot of archival stuff starting to, float to the surface. Recordings from landmark shows in the 60s and 70s. So I've got one of each today. There was other good ones, but these two were easily my favorites of this particular year, 1994. So my favorite, let's get to my favorite. So this particular live album was officially released August 20th, 1994. Recorded August 18th, 1969. I think you kind of know where I'm going at here. Was also reissued a few years later with even more of the full performance. That's actually the one that I have because I've upgraded. I had the original. I upgraded to the later version. Either way, it's going to win because I absolutely love this live album. It's one of my favorite live albums of all time. Released on the MCA label. Talking about Jimi Hendrix. Live at Woodstock, originally just called Woodstock. That was what the original live album was called, but here later reissued live at Woodstock with, like I said, a few extra tracks, basically giving you the whole show. For me, Jimi's performance at Woodstock, absolutely mesmerizing. I have listened to this a million times. I have watched the footage a million times. Perhaps not Hendrix's best live performance ever. Or, with the, whatever the name of the configuration he was going with, Gypsy Suns and Rainbows, or whatever the hell they were called. It was not quite the Band of Gypsies. It was kind of Jimi's new configuration at the time would eventually become the Band of Gypsies just a few short months later with Billy Cox and Buddy Miles. But here, you've got, what do we got here? We got Jimi, we got Mitch Mitchell on drums. Mitch still playing with Jimi at this time. You got Billy Cox on bass, Larry Lee on rhythm guitar, Juma Sultan on percussion, and Jerry Velez on percussion. So it's kind of like this big, noisy, expanded kind of like electric church type of thing with Jimi and the boys. But, they played the final morning of Woodstock when, the majority of the crowd had already gotten home. They were they basically closed the show in fine fashion. And I love Jimi's guitar tone here. Everything about the performance, just such a fan of this. We've got here Message to Love, Hear My Train A-Comin', which is just absolutely thrilling here. A very heavy Spanish Castle Magic. You got a lengthy Red House. Lover Man, Foxy Lady, Jam Back at the House. There's a lot of jamming during this performance, and I don't mind it. I think it's real. I think some of the jams are amazing. Isabella. This is my favorite version of Isabella ever at Woodstock. You got Fire, and an incredible Voodoo Child Slight Return. A lot of just absolutely uncanny guitar fireworks going off during this. Then, of course, that leads into the Star Spangled Banner. Legendary, right? The definitive version of Jimi playing the Star Spangled Banner. That goes into a raucous Purple Haze, and then you've got the Woodstock Improvisation and Villanova Junction, which is just Jimi just basically going off. First with this just crazy, fast, bluesy stuff, and then into this gorgeous kind of like Spanish flamenco type electric guitar work on the Stratocaster, and then finishing it off with Hey Joe. Just incredible. I love it. I love it. I know I've talked to some people in my life who find, that the band was rather sloppy and, they were hastily put together and, they rehearsed a bit up in the Sullivan County area here in New York, not far from the actual Woodstock site in Bethel, New York, over by White Lake. But I don't care. I think there's an energy and a rawness to it, to the performance by the whole band that I really just absolutely love. And it's just so historic. If you're a New Yorker, especially if you're in New York or the Hudson Valley here, the Woodstock Festival Hendrix's performance. A lot of the performances that day are just like, if you're a music fan, it's just part of your psyche, right? It's part of your life. You just can't, there's nothing you can do about it, and I'm okay with that. So that is my pick for favorite of 1994. My runner-up, like this a lot. If it wasn't for the Hendrix album, this would have won. This is great. This was released August 31st, 1994. So actually, both of these, my picks were released right around the same time of each other. And this was recorded, where was this recorded? All over the place. I think, the Club Sita in Kawasaki, Japan. And then also parts of it are taken from another performance or something like that. So anyway, this is Glenn Hughes, Burning Japan Live. So this is Glenn right about the time. So this is the early 90s. So this is right around the time where Glenn is working to get himself sober, back on track. His times and, Trapeze, Deep Purple, Hughes Thrall, Black Sabbath, far behind him. He's now firmly entrenched in the solo career. He's got a red-hot band here made up of basically Swedish musicians. He's got on guitars Thomas Larsson and Eric Boitfeldt. He's got Mick McKally on keyboards, of course, from the band Europe. He's got Johan Levin on bass guitar and Ian Haugland on drums. So you got a couple of Europe members there. Ironically, on this particular tour, Glenn is just out singing. He's not playing bass here. And it's basically a kind of a best of Glenn up to that point, solo and bands he's been in. So obviously we got Burn here kicking it all off. You got The Liar, Muscle and Blood, Lay My Body Down, Into the Void, Coast to Coast, Ode to G, Getting Tighter, Lady Double Dealer, I Got Your Number, and Stormbringer. So basically a couple Trapeze, a couple Deep Purple, and some solo stuff. So pretty cool. It's a really good recording. Glenn sounds amazing on it, as he always does. And I remember when I first bought this, and I believe this came out on the Shrapnel label. Yeah, there's a pic of the guys right in the band. Really ripping set. Just classic Glenn Hughes. Man, it's the voice of rock. He's called that for a reason, right? So there you have it. 2 H's. Jimi Hendrix, Glenn Hughes are my live album picks here for today, 1994. Stay tuned for 1995. We got 95, 96, and 97, and bloop, that's it. No more September. On to October. Time for spooky albums is my topic for each and every day in October. So 31 days of some spooky album recommendations, albums that kind of have, again, this is to celebrate October and Halloween here in the States. We love Halloween time here. I know a lot of people who don't live in the States don't understand our fascination with it. But even if you don't get Halloween or it's not a blip on your radar, this will be an opportunity for you to hear about some very creepy, atmospheric, chilling albums. They could be heavy metal albums, they could be hard rock albums, prog albums, experimental albums. Doesn't really matter. It's going to be kind of a wide assortment of things. Could have really ghoulish, creepy, unsettling lyrics. Could have the music just really ominous and foreboding. Could be really heavy and crushing, whatever. But it's got to be a mood music that just like gives you that unsettling, chilling experience based on the lyrical content or the music itself, or both, right? Could be both. So that's coming up. So in the comments below, please list your favorite live album and runner-up from 1994. Like I said, we only have a couple days left, so we'll finish this up and move on to other things. But thanks for watching, everybody. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, of course. We're here on this thing called YouTube all the damn time. If you'd like to make a channel donation, please click on the link below to our Ko-Fi page. We've got the link to our merch site with all sorts of Sea of Tranquility stuff. We've got the link to our webzine, which is celebrating its 20th anniversary here this year in 2021. But more importantly, also here on the YouTube channel. Please click on that subscribe button if you haven't already, and that notification bell. It's very important so that you get alerted of all of our content and you don't miss anything. I see all sorts of people posting comments about, oh, when are you going to do this? I thought you said you were going to do this and whatever. Well, if you had clicked on that notification bell, you would have seen that we did that 3 days ago, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, or a month ago. So you don't want to miss anything. And please do utilize our playlists, okay? Very important. I put everything into playlists. So before you start asking a million questions about have I ever done or will I do, go check the playlist first or look at that little magnifying glass here in the YouTube channel. type in your question there, or type in whatever the topic is that you want to see, and just do a search, because you'll find it here on the channel. So it's very simple. So thanks for watching, everybody. I am Pete Pardo. We'll see you again tomorrow. But also, more importantly, tonight, Hudson Valley Squares. The topic is 1978. We're going to pick our favorite albums from 1978. So that's coming up tonight. It's going to be fun. So stay tuned for that. And a lot more in the prog seat tomorrow. Our favorite prog and fusion bass players. Wednesday, What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility Day. Thursday, The Monsters Den. Friday morning at the Funhouse with Martin Popoff. And we've got Sunday coming up, album homework assignment. So stay tuned. See you real soon. I am Pete Pardo. Take care. Bye-bye.